What's up, Cubers? My name is Kenneth. As a lot of you guys know, I recently moved, and now it's time to unpack my entire collection. I made 2 of these videos, and this is the long one. You probably don't want to watch this entire video. Instead, go watch the short one and click the annotations to come to this video for more information on those specific puzzles that interest you. Then to get back to the short video, just click the annotation in this video or find the link in the cards and the description. All right, guys, here we go. So since I moved, I haven't unpacked, and I basically have 4 large boxes of cubes and puzzles, and then I've got these jars. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first show you the jars, then I'm gonna show you one box at a time, and hopefully I can kind of organize them. I wanna get some cubes in the background here and cubes in the, I don't know if you saw the shelf up above, and just, you know, kind of show off some of my puzzles now instead of them being stuck in a box. And yeah, it'll make my office look way cooler. So anyway, let's get started. So here's my impossible jar collection. I've got the large brain cube. So I put a brain cube that you can buy. I put that in this weird head jar. I thought that looked really cool. So that's my brain cube in a jar, and it won't fit through the neck. So I had to, you know, assemble the cube inside the jar. And same with all these. I had to assemble all these in the jar. This one was the hardest one I've done so far. And it's hard because the neck of this bottle is so tiny, and you had to assemble a Rubik's Cube inside of that. And so that was pretty difficult. And then I also have like a Mega Minx that I assembled inside this jar. I'm also working on this one. This one would be the most difficult Rubik's Cube in a jar I've ever seen. And I'm barely making any progress. It's very difficult. I've assembled a corner and an edge inside, and I've assembled some of the core. But I think to actually finish it would be nearly impossible. So I'm going to keep trying. If I ever you know, have some motivation, I might keep working on it. And then I have this, which is a puzzle, and this is a impossible jar puzzle, and you have to remove the rod from this bottle, and it's very difficult. You have to use what's only inside of here. And yeah, I got this for Christmas one year, and it really got me back into these impossible jars. So that's a pretty cool puzzle. So first off, in the back, we have the Moyu 13x13, which I still have in my Christmas pattern, which was pretty fun to do. And I've made a bunch of patterns on this, and usually around holidays and stuff like that, I try to make a pattern, maybe post it on my Instagram. So it's kind of fun. So here I have, I think it's a Dino Dodecahedron. Is that what it's called? I don't remember. It's made by MF8. I've played with it a couple times, but honestly, it's really easy to solve, and I don't know, there's not much challenge, I think, in solving it. So I haven't played with it that much. So here we have the Picture Insanity Cube, which I've recently done some videos on, and then I've also got the all metallic ones and another metallic one. So those are the Insanity Cubes. So this is part of the Calvin's 3x3x5 cuboid collection. And this is, I forget which this one's called, the plus cube, I don't know which one this is. I'm going to forget all the names, so you guys are going to be making fun of me in the comments, I'm sure. So here I have this stand, and I have this metal Rubik's Cube, and it doesn't move, it's just really kind of a table piece, and my uncle actually made it out of a solid piece of metal, and it looks really professional, and it's kind of scuffed up. I should probably try to like shine it up, but it looks really cool, and I've got the stand for it, and it can go on a table and stand like that. It's pretty neat. So here we have, I think it's the Orbit puzzle, and this is an old family puzzle that I had back when I was a child, actually in the 80s. So this is a really old puzzle. This was in our house in the 80s, and it's kind of discolored right now, and I put it in this pattern. So normally the solved position would have like all red here, all yellow here, all blue here, and all green here. And I don't know if this is how they're supposed to be made, but there's a missing gem, and using this missing gem, I can easily solve it. And I'm not sure if that was on purpose or not, because I think it would be a lot harder to solve it if that gem was there. So I'm not sure if mine is defective, if the gem fell out at some point in my childhood, or if this is how it's supposed to be done. So anyway, I think it's the Orbit puzzle. So here we have a gear ball, and look, it's missing a couple centers. This has been out in my office, and my son's been playing with it, and I've lost the centers. So hopefully they'll pop up while I'm doing this video, and I can fix it. But it's a gear ball. Gear ball is just one of the coolest, I think, gear puzzles, and I think I named it one of my favorites in my top 5 cubes video. Definitely check that one out. So this is a cool puzzle. This is my first Lego cube, and this is actually one of the puzzles that really got me into YouTube. I made a video on my Lego cube, and I got 1,000 views on that video, and I was totally excited about that. And it was the first video I ever had that got 1,000 views. And yeah, it's really cool to think that this puzzle here that I made and kind of customized really got me excited about YouTube. So that's kind of fun. So here is a bandage cube from Mefferts from a long time ago, the early 2000s. And you can see the tiles have popped off. So hopefully we find those tiles while we go through the collection. Here's a new item for my collection. It's the magnetic cube. Pretty cool. It's held together by magnets. Here's a new item to my collection. It's a Moyu cube. I forget which one. It's one of their newest ones. And it's actually from Crazy Bad Cuber. And when he came to visit, he accidentally left it. And he told me to keep it when he realized he left it at my house. So thanks to Dan for letting me keep this cube. It's really nice. It turns amazing. It's definitely the best cube I've got in my house. And I'll probably be using it for my next Let's Race video. So anyway, it's a really nice speed cube. So here I have an old Mefferts 5x5 with the tiles, and you can see a bunch of tiles have popped off. And anyway, this is the one I took to the World Championships in 2003, and I forget what place I got, but yeah. Anyway, I used to really enjoy this puzzle. I bought 2 of them, and I sold one to a friend. I forget, for like 20 bucks or something like that. Yeah, so it turns pretty well, but it doesn't cut corners very well. It'll pop if you try to cut too hard. But when I was cubing, this was one of my nicest. This was my only 5x5 for a long time. Here we have a Megaminx. This one has got tiles on it. This is another one that I made an unboxing for on my YouTube channel. One of my first unboxings. Kind of fun. So here we have a David's Gear Cube, and this is a white one, and it's basically a 2x2, and it can solve like a 2x2, but it also can, the centers you can twist, and they can all turn. And it looks like I'm missing a piece, so that's a little disappointing. Let's see if I can fix this one. Yeah, I'm missing a red gear. I'm sure it's in the box somewhere. Hopefully I find that. There we go, back to a solved state, but you can see it's missing the little piece there, so I'm gonna have to find that. Here's another one. This is the black one of the 2, but you can see how it spins, and it's really challenging at first. I was really happy with the solution I came up with, and it's a really cool puzzle, and I think I added this in my top 5 cubes. So definitely check out that video. Here we have a Bart 2x2, and wow, this thing is so incredibly stiff. Oh my goodness. So yeah, there's a Bart 2x2 head. So here's a Rubik's Cube. It's one of their new versions with the tiles, and I think they're pretty decent cubes. They're just definitely not up to some of the Moyu cubes. They're just not as good as those. But for Rubik's brand. Of the Rubik's brand cubes of the last 15 years, this is definitely the best one that they've produced so far. But that's not saying much. So here is my Rubik's Cube rattle for my son. I'm gonna have to take this one downstairs so that he can play with it. Here is an Ishin 4x4, and this is one that I got right around 2003, I believe. And yeah, when they came out, they were the very best 4x4 that you could get. And so anyway, I remember them being very excited about this 4x4. Wow, look at this. This is a Rubik's brand cube from probably the early 2000s. and it's not that great at all, and the stickers are falling apart. It looks horrible. So here we have a Rubik's Magic. This is the red one. Oh wow, I'm rusty. I really like the Rubik's Magic. I'm a little bummed that it's no longer a WCA puzzle, and I actually had the American record in this puzzle for a while, back in 2004, I believe. So kind of fun. Here is a VCube 8. Is that 8? Yeah, 4x4. There we go. Yeah, it's an 8x8 made by VCubes. So cool. And here is the VCube 4. And we got, oh, this is a cool puzzle. So we have a Dogic here. And this one I solved into this state. But basically, it's got 20 sides, and I've got 10 colors, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the Dogics are really cool puzzles. The tips turn kind of like that. And then a whole, I don't know what you would call that, but face can turn as well. And there's a couple ways that you can kind of put these puzzles together. But yeah, I think they're really cool puzzles, and they're pretty rare now, I think. So yeah, that's a Dogic. Oh, cool. This is my wood puzzle. I was wondering where this was. Each side has kind of these wood tiles on them. And I think they're just glued onto like an actual Rubik's Cube, like an old store-bought Rubik's Cube. And it never turned well, but I think it looks really cool. Oh, check it out. Here is my void cubes that I've linked together. And I made a video about that and how to do it. A lot of people have tried it and then broke their puzzles, so be careful. Here's a souvenir Rubik's Cube, super cheap. I can feel the plastic is very low quality, but it says Alaska. I got this when I was in Alaska for a trip. Kind of fun. So here is another kind of souvenir puzzle. It was probably a stocking stuffer for Christmas, probably 2012. Yeah, it's really cheap. Here's a cool puzzle. This is a Rubik's Missing Link. And these came out, I don't know, 1983, maybe, something like that. And it's kind of like a 15 puzzle where you can, like a tile sliding puzzle, but it's kind of wrapped, and you can twist the sides like that, and you can then put a new piece in the empty space and move it around. And yeah, it's a cool puzzle, and it solves very similar to like just those 15 puzzles. But at first it might throw you off, and it's not as easy as you might expect, but it's a fun little puzzle. So that's the Missing Link puzzle, and I got that a long time ago. Look at this. Oh wow, from the makers of the Rubik's Cube, Ideal Corp, 1981. So yeah, it's an old puzzle. So here's one of those cheap wood puzzles where you try to get it back into the shape of a cube, and it drives me crazy that all these are they solve the exact same way when they don't have to. I mean, you could easily make a new one that solves in a different way, but everyone who makes these just copies the original, and so it's kind of funny. So here I have a Rubik's Cube, a chrome cube, and this was actually, they gave these away at the 2003 World Championships. So I got a couple of these, but this is a good copy of the ones that I got. It actually turns okay. A couple of them just wouldn't turn at all, but yeah, I think they look really cool. All right, I've got, is this a Masters Pyraminx? I think it's a pretty cool puzzle, and I made some videos on these a long time ago. So here's my Harry Potter magic. It's a Harry Potter flying, and when you solve it, it is Harry Potter reaching and falling for the snitch. Oh, cool. Here is an old puzzle. I think they called it a rainbow puzzle. Is that what it was? Rainbow cube? Something like that. It's basically got the same mechanism as a dino cube. and for a while you couldn't get a dino cube, and so you'd have, if you wanted a dino cube, you'd have to like get this puzzle and then turn it into a dino cube. Anyway, it's a very easy puzzle to solve, and I think it looks kind of nice. I like the geometry of this puzzle. Pretty cool. So here is the Rubik's Cube 30th anniversary cube. It's another wood puzzle, but it's got these kind of transparent stickers on it. And I like the wood, but I don't know if I like the transparent stickers. It's just, I think, a Rubik's brand cube, and then they've got these like wooden caps on them. But there's something really pleasing about this wood cube. The original prototypes that Erno Rubik came up with were made out of wood, and so I think that was why they made this anniversary cube a wood cube. But yeah, something about wood cube is very cool. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the stickers. So here is, I don't know, what do you call these? Dodo cubes? I have no idea where I got this. I think someone bought it for me as maybe a funny present. But yeah, this is just a cube with the same color sticker on each side. Here's another Rubik's Cube with the new styling, and this one actually turns a lot better than that last one I showed you guys. So here's the Jade Cube. Each side is hand painted. It looks really cool, and you get this when you join the Jade Club, which is pretty cool. But you still have to pay for them. So here's some cube that there's probably some game that's associated with it, but of course the instructions probably got tossed out, so I have no idea what this cube is. So here we have a Tom Z Curvy Copter. It's a very cool puzzle. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely challenging, especially if you do these jumbling moves. Here, let's make it jumble. So yeah, now solving it once it's jumbled like this, it can be very challenging. So yeah, I think they're really awesome puzzles, and they've made a couple versions. There's a Kirby Copter Plus, which is also a very cool puzzle and even more challenging. So highly recommend these Kirby Copters. So here is a half truncated cube, and this is a really cool puzzle that I handmade a long time ago, and this was I made one of my first YouTube videos was on this puzzle, and it's really cool, and I'm surprised that no one mass produces this puzzle, because I think it looks really nice. It has a really cool geometry to it, and it's just a Rubik's Cube that half of the corners have been truncated, been cut, and I got the stickers from Cubesmith, I believe. And yeah, it's a cool puzzle. It's a cool shape. It looks kind of like a diamond. And it's a really neat, really cool puzzle. So here is a puzzle from a long time ago. It looks horrible now, but it was a puzzle that I think one of my wife's friends made for her when we were engaged, as an engagement present or something like that. And I think they took the pictures from Facebook and just printed it out, and I think you can see they stuck the stickers right on top of the Rubik stickers, so I can see some orange coming through there. But yeah, it must have taken a long time to make, but you can see the stickers and printing, just they haven't held up that well, which is unfortunate, but yeah, it's kind of cool. So this is a very cool puzzle. It's the Maltese Gear Cube from Oscar Van Deventer, and this one has been 3D printed. And I just think it's really awesome. And this is one I haven't ever solved. I've been really close, and then I put it away, and then after a while I try to get back to it. But then I've forgotten the algorithms that I came up with from the first time around. So I really just need to get the motivation to actually finish solving it. And I think it's a really cool, it's like a beautiful puzzle. And for you know, the quality right here as a 3D printed puzzle, it's really nice. Oscar, I could tell, spent a lot of time making sure it was perfect, and the stickers are great, and he just does a really good job putting these things together. So anyway, this is the Maltese Gear Cube. So here's the Master Magic. This one is the master version of the Magic, and I actually forget how to solve it, so I'm not going to attempt it because I don't have time right now. But it's similar to the regular Magic, where the rings are interlinked, and then when you solve it on the other side, all the rings are no longer linked. So it's a really cool puzzle. I just don't remember how it solves. Whoa. So here's my 1x2x2. This is the second one I made that I made a tutorial on. And this one turns great, looks great, and yeah, it's great. So yeah, the 1x2x2 video that I made, the tutorial, is actually one of my most viewed videos, which is really cool. So almost done with this box. Let's see what we got left. Let's see if we can find any of these caps we're missing. So here's an access cube, and this one someone scrambled up. It wasn't me. That's too bad. But basically, it's a 3x3 modified cube, so it has the same mechanism of a 3x3, but it's shape modded, so it's got a different shape, and it makes it very difficult to solve because you don't know what piece goes where. Because you try to think of it as a Rubik's cube, but it's hard to like visualize what piece is a corner, what piece is an edge. And so it can be hard to then execute your algorithms and keep track of where you are in your solve. So anyway, it's a really challenging puzzle, and for shape mods, it's one of the more difficult shape mods. And I think it's really cool. It's got a nice geometry to it. It's got some symmetries in there, where like the ghost cube doesn't have any symmetries. This one does. So anyway, pretty cool shape mod. So here is a 42 millimeter cube, a Diane cube. I think it's a Xanchi. I don't know for sure. It doesn't want to come apart, so I think it is a Xanchi with torpedoes. But yeah, it's a tiny little cube compared to like an actual Rubik's cube. There's an actual Rubik's cube. You can see it's a lot smaller. And I bought it when I was trying to look for small cubes to try to put inside of a small bottle. And I decided not to use this one. So here is the rest of the pieces for the cube that I did try to put in the bottle. So I got to finish that. Here's another one of those snake puzzles that they're all the exact same, and they must be pretty cheap because I keep getting them in like stocking stuffers that people just see them. They're probably, you know, under $1, and then I end up getting more of them. So here I have a homemade 1x1x3, and I printed out the stickers, and they're made out of Lego. And I actually followed a Me, Myself, and Pi tutorial a long time ago to make this, and I really like it. I think it looks really good, and it's cool that it's made out of Legos and I can just pull it apart. So here is some of my small cuboids. It's a homemade 1x1x2 made out of 2 Rubik's Cubies. I think they were both corner pieces that I clipped off the edges with some cutters and then put a screw and screwed them together. And yeah, so that's a homemade 1x1x2. And then here is a homemade 1x1x1 from a actual Rubik's Cube corner that I clipped off and then tried to fill up the edges. And so yeah, this is from a long time ago. And then here is another 1x1x1 from, I think I got it from the Cubicle. Recently did a video on that one, so kind of fun. And let's see. Here's a Rubik's Cube USB stick. There it comes out. And I forget where I got this. I think Rubik sent it to me. But, you know, I don't really use USB sticks. So it's been sitting in here. Let's see, what do we have in here? Oh, this is a 2x2 from Mefferts. So here we have a 2x2 from Mefferts. And they have this new unified core design, I think. So if you wanted to, you could 3D print any caps you wanted, and it would stick right to this core, which I think is really cool. And so they've been using that for like a lot of their egg puzzles and things like that. And I think this is the core, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's not. So, but yeah, I have a bunch of these, but I don't know if you can buy them from Mefferts. So they sent them to me, but I think it's really cool that they've kind of made this unified core, and then you can just kind of make your own cubes now. You can like 3D print something that snaps right onto that, and then you can just get the core and then snap it right on. So that's really cool. And here's a puzzle I just got for Christmas, and honestly I have no idea what the point is of this puzzle. It's kind of pointless. All right, first box done. So here's my second box, and the first puzzle is another magic, but this is a Simpsons magic. And so one side is Homer sleeping, and the other side is the whole family at the beach. So it's kind of a fun little magic. There's Homer again. So here we have an infamous cube. It is a Rubik's 4x4, and these things are infamous because if you try to speed cube them with them, these edge pieces, I believe, break. So you got to be careful with it when you're playing. Not really for speed cubing. And this one I think was from the early 2000s, probably 2001, something like that, maybe 2002. But yeah, there's the Rubik's 4x4. Here is a Rubik's Professor cube. And this is another puzzle that Rubik's made that doesn't turn the greatest. Yeah, and I have it in a cube and a cube and a cube all the way through. So here is a 4x4, and I believe this is the Meffert's 4x4. And it's very similar to the Rubik's 4x4. And yeah, so you can see the stickers, not that great, coming apart. But yeah, 4x4. And this is one that I had. I think I took this one to the Rubik's World Championships in 2003. And I think I had my fastest time there in a long time. So, but that was back before I solved reduction. So I would solve one whole side, then I'd solve like the corners and then the center on the bottom. And then I would solve all the edges on the bottom. So I'd solve the top layer, the bottom layer. Then I would solve the edges. And then last I would solve the middle layer centers. And very inefficient. So here is a Moyu cube. I forget which type. A Weelong maybe? I don't know if you guys can tell me. But yeah, I was using this as my main. But now that I have Crazy Bad Cuber's cube, I'll probably be using his. So in here we have the treasure chest cube, and this was invented by Oscar van Deventer. And when it's solved, you can open it up, and inside you can hide something, and you put an engagement ring in there, or maybe I put my elemental cube, which is like a 9mm cube inside. And yeah, it's a cool place to hide something. And the only way to open it is to solve it. And actually, all you have to do is solve the top 2 layers. Once the top 2 layers are solved, and then it will open. Here's another Rubik's 5x5. I think we got this one at the World Championships in 2003. They were giving some away, so I got a couple of them. I think my brothers got one, and I ended up getting theirs. And another Rubik's 5x5. And here's a V Cube 2. It's a 2x2 from V Cubes. So this, I forget what it's called, but it's a Rubik's product. And it's kind of a puzzle, and you have to put it together into a pyramid. And as you can see, I'm missing 2 pieces here, and they kept falling off, the little corner pieces. But yeah, I don't remember what it's called. Here we have a Scube Ultimate, and it's based off of the Scube mechanism. It's like a shape mod of a Scube. Here's the Scube Extreme, I believe it's called. And this is just a Scube cube with these little cuts on the edges. And it makes a much cooler design, and it's just based off of the normal Scube mechanism. Here we have one of my favorite gear puzzles. It's a gear shift by Oscar van Deventer. I'm trying to get it to the solve place. There we go. So it's a gear shift. So when you twist it like this, all the gears will move, but eventually they'll come back to solve. But if you pull it apart and twist it and put it back, now if you twist them, they won't ever be solved unless you have to pull it apart again and fix it. Anyway, I came up with a solution for this, and it's kind of a fun puzzle. I think it's really unique. It's most of these other twisty puzzles have, you know, this one's different than all of them, and it actually is a lot of fun to solve, and it's one of my favorite puzzles. Here's my other jade puzzle. This is the Jade Pyraminx. Each side is hand painted like the 3x3, and it's a really unique and cool looking puzzle. So this is my Alexander Star, and I got this a long time ago. It was given to me from a friend. It's a very unique puzzle. It looks really cool. It's from the 80s. Unfortunately, though, mine broke. and I'm missing this edge piece. It's floating around somewhere, and I was always scared to glue it back unless it was solved, and because then I didn't want to get it wrong, and it's really hard to take apart. So I still haven't fixed it after all these years. So this puzzle, I forget what it's called, but it's a cubic modification of a Megaminx. And so it's like a Megaminx, but you can see maybe right here, the shape of a Megaminx. You can see like this would be an edge piece, right? And this is a corner and an edge and a corner, an edge and corner, an edge and corner. So yeah, so it's like a Megaminx. It solves like a Megaminx. And yeah, I found it really challenging because of all the reasons shape modifications are challenging. It's hard to kind of like wrap your mind around what each piece is and where it goes. And yeah, it's a pretty cool puzzle. It's made by Calvin's Puzzle. Yeah, kind of fun. So here we have the Curvy Copter Plus. And this is like the Curvy Copter, but these pieces have been split, and it makes for even more jumbling madness. So you can break up these pieces even more than you could before. So now, normally I wouldn't be able to break this piece up, but now that it's here, I can break it up, and so it can scramble even further than a normal Curvy Copter could. And it's a very difficult puzzle to solve, and this is another puzzle I was really proud of the solution I came up for it. I was very happy to have figured it out. So here we have my other axis cube or axle cube, and you can see the symmetry better now that it's solved. It looks really cool, and it's a difficult shape mod of the Rubik's Cube. So here is my windmill cube. It's another shape mod of a Rubik's Cube. This one looks really cool, especially in the checkerboard pattern. There's a checkerboard on the windmill cube. So here we have a 2x4x6. And this one, I forget who made this. Maybe it was Calvin's Puzzle. Oh yeah, it says, I don't know if you can see it. It says Calvin right there. But yeah, this is a cuboid, and you can see it shape shifts. And because they're all even, 2, 4, and 6. It like double shape shifts, so it's really challenging, and it's a lot of fun to get all that crazy shape shifting, and you can solve it depending on how you scramble it. It has like different ways you would solve it. So here is a geared a modification of the gear cube by Oscar Van Deventer, and I forget what this one's called. I think Geared Master Morphinx, I believe. So they basically take a Rubik's like a cubic shape, and they turn it into this other shape. And so it's a shape mod of the gear cube. This one turns pretty well, and they're a lot of fun to solve. So here is my original mirror cube or bump cube, and this one never turned all that great. But the mirror cube is a really cool shape mod of the Rubik's Cube. It's really fun to solve it, and when it's scrambled up, it's just they're different shapes and sizes. And had they stickered it, it would have actually made the puzzle easier. And you have to solve it only with the shapes and the sizes of each side. So anyway, it's a really fun. I highly recommend this puzzle. It's a very cool puzzle. So here's a Rubik's Cube. And gosh, I have no idea what kind. Guhong, I think. I think this is just a Guhong. But yeah, so it's just a Rubik's Cube in a cube pattern. But not for long. Oh, it's still in a cube. I just lost a cap. So here is the helicopter cube. It's also an edge turning cube. It's very similar to the Curvy Copter, and actually the Curvy Copter is kind of based off of this cube. And this one also jumbles, and it jumbles like this. So you can see it now jumbled. So here is a really lousy Rubik's Cube that has a promo from a company called Softtech that someone probably picked up at a booth and then gave me, and I forgot who gave it to me. But it's pretty lousy. It's got cheap plastic. I just broke it. It's just squeezing. I could feel it flexing. Oops. Wow, I could have cut myself. That's dangerous. So yeah, this is super cheap. I'm trying to get the piece out. I guess I'm gonna throw this away. Wow, look how cheap that was. See you, Softtech. I hope their software is not as cheap as this cube. I just threw it in the trash. And so here we have a very cool puzzle. This is the Crazy Pill that Crazy Bad Cuber designed and got 3D printed. And it's really cool. And he actually told me when he was here that this is the best turning version that he ever was able to get. I feel really lucky and honored to have gotten it. And Dan actually gave it to me as a present. And it's a really cool mod. I really like the 4x4x6, and this is like a kind of a shape mod of the 4x4x6 into a pill. And the way he stickered it makes it very difficult to solve, and it's a lot of fun. So this is the Crazy Pill, one of my favorite puzzles. So here we have an Ishin 5x5. Now this also came out around the same time as the 4x4, and when it did come out, it was probably the best 5x5 available. And it really was a new design, and it turned really well, and it was a little smaller than the originals, and people really liked it when it came out. So this is the Ishin 5x5. So here's another souvenir cube. This one's really heavy, and I got this one when I was in Europe. And let's see where it's got Bern here, Lucerne, Zurich, and a few other places. So Matterhorn. So yeah, we got this in Europe when we were visiting all over the place. So very fun. Here we have a constrained cube, and this is a 90-degree constrained cube. So you can only turn it 90 degrees this way or that way, and it forces you to go kind of back and forth on each side. You can only go one way, and then the next move has to go back. And so it really is kind of a bandaging cube, and it bandages in a very unique way. I find these bandaging cubes or puzzles to be very difficult, including this one. I actually looked up a tutorial to solve it, and honestly, I forget how to solve it. So I should try it again. So yeah, this is the constrained cube, and this is the 90-degree version. Some of them have 180-degree turning. Some of them have a mix where some sides are 90 degrees and other sides are 180 degrees. And so they have all these different kinds. So this one's the 90-degree one. Here we have an original Scube. This is a Scube cube from Mefferts, and it's probably pretty old. Here's a transparent cube I got, and I was going to try to put like LEDs in it or something a long time ago, and I just never got around to it. And yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I think the transparent cubes look really cool. I don't know what kind this is. Maybe it's probably a Guhong is my guess. I have a video on it. I should go watch that video. So here's another 3x3, and I'm not sure what kind. Oh, maybe this is my Guhong. I don't know. Yeah, not quite sure. But it's a 3x3. Here is a 2x2 junior cube. I think I bought a couple of these to make a 2x2x4. And so that's why I have a couple of these 2x2s laying around. So here is another one of those snake wooden puzzles. And like all the other ones, it has the exact same pattern. And I have no idea which one of these is like the original. So yeah, so everyone's copying everybody. So here is the Cubot, I believe it's called. This is kind of a play on that snake puzzle, but this one is a little more fun. It has its own design, and it turns into this like giant robot that can stand up and fight and do whatever you want it to do. So once you get it there, then you have to get it back into its cube shape, and shoot, I lost it. So I might as well open it all the way. So yeah, so it was a cube and now it's this big robot. So here we have the floppy cube, and this is probably the first puzzle I ever unboxed on my channel. And it's just a 1x3x3, and it's a really unique puzzle because you wouldn't think it could actually be made because the corners would hang completely off over here. But you can see when we do this, this centerpiece kind of flexes up just a little bit so that it can stay connected to the centerpiece. So yeah, this is a floppy cube. So here's a wooden puzzle I got for Christmas this year. And it's a burr puzzle. You got to take it all apart and then put it all back together again. Here we have a Fisher cube. It's a shape mod of the Rubik's Cube made by Tony Fisher. It was designed by him. And yeah, it's a cool puzzle. It is a little challenging the first time you solve it. It's hard to figure out where each piece goes. And you also have to solve it like a super cube. These centers have an orientation, so you have to deal with that. But yeah, it's a really fun puzzle, and it's one of the first kind of shape mods of a Rubik's Cube that I ever played with. This is an M&M cube. Who doesn't like M&Ms? Really, come on. M&Ms are awesome. And this this cube, why it does not turn, but it doesn't feel super cheap, and it's got M&Ms on it, and I love M&Ms, so I like this cube. Here we have another helicopter cube, Tom Z helicopter cube. I think these things are cool. Here's a square one. This is one of the first puzzles that I got besides after the Rubik's Cube, because they were actually selling these in stores around my house. And I found the square one to be extremely difficult and challenging. And yeah, I actually probably don't remember how to solve it. So if I wanted to solve it, I'd have to figure it out again. And I found it really difficult. I actually used a tutorial the first time I solved it. And then after that, I've forgotten it. So... but yeah, it's a cool puzzle. I re-stickered this one because the stickers were so bad. These stickers I think came from CubeSmith, and they look really good. So here's a mini Rubik's Cube, and I have no idea what kind it is or why I got it. I probably had like a project planned out for it, but yeah, there's a mini cube. So here's one of my Star Wars heads. We got Anakin on this side, and we got Darth Vader on that side, and this one's never been opened. Here we have a V-Cube 3, just a V-Cube. So here's the Rubik's Slide. This is a game that Rubik's came out with a long time ago. And I think there was an app involved. And yeah, I don't know if I ever made a video on this or not, but yeah, you can move the shapes around by like sliding it over like this up and down. It'll move shapes across. There's a target you have to try to get to, and then if you twist, it'll actually rotate around the center. And I remember it being kind of fun for like, a few minutes, and then it kind of got old. So I haven't turned it on in a few years, and yeah, I can't believe it still works. Woo! I got all 10. So here we have, this is a Rubik's Cube battery. You can charge things with it. And yeah, Rubik's just sent this to me recently with that USB or with that Bluetooth speaker. So this can actually charge that speaker, which is pretty cool. So they call it the power bank. And I think this was made by somebody else, and they were able to get it licensed by Rubik's. And it turns like a 1x1x4. It actually is fully functional. It can go forever. I've seen other ones that not a power bank, but other 1x1x3s or something like that can spin. But of course, they can only spin once, and then they have to spin back or something like that. But this one is fully functional, 1x1x4, and it's also a USB power bank, and so it's a battery, and you can charge your devices with it. So here is a Rubik's mug, and I've got my acorn sticker on it from my work. And it's an official Rubik's Cube. It's came out in 2011. So there you go. I've had it on my desk for a long time. So here's another snake kind of copycat of the Qbot. I much rather the Qbot. Feels more high quality. This feels cheaper. So this is some other puzzle. I think you have to untangle it all. It's just sitting in with all my puzzles. Someone must have given this to me. So here is a Rubik's Cube keychain, and I must have taken all the stickers off for some reason, and I might have had a plan to do something with it, and I'm actually impressed. It actually turns really well, and I have no idea what I was going to do with it. Inside this basket, I've got a ton of tiles that have fallen off from those puzzles. So this is the bandage cube. This is probably one of my 5x5s, and yeah, a ton of little tiles just sitting in here. So here we have one of my favorite puzzles. This is my house cube, and this puzzle was handmade by me, and it was a collaboration. I had a friend of mine paint the stickers, and I scanned those stickers in and then had stickers made for the house cube, and I was really proud of it. I think they turned out really well, and yeah, so I really like it. And I made the bottom. I had my friend paint kind of plumbing that would make a maze, and the maze has to come together like that. So yeah, it turned out really well. I think it's really cool. It might have even kind of inspired some other kind of mass-produced puzzles that actually look like houses. So that was kind of my idea. I'd seen other house cubes before, but I'd only seen them with like red on one side and orange on another, things like that. But I think having it look like a house looks really cool. So I think that's pretty fun. I have some other ideas. I think it would be cool to make some cuboids look like houses, and then you can make a little city of these things. You'd have like a 4x4x6 could look like, you know, like a little office tower or something like that. But anyway, kind of fun. This is one of my favorites. I think it looks really good. Shout out to my friend Heather who made the stickers. I think they look really great. So, yep, house cube. Here we have a gear cube, but this is the gear cube Extreme? Ultimate? I forget the difference between them. Maybe the difference was, I think this is the Extreme. The Ultimate might have stickers here, and then you have to deal with orientation of these edges. But yeah, this is a really cool puzzle. I made a tutorial on how to solve these puzzles a long time ago. And yeah, so this is the Ultimate. So it turns like a gear cube, but you can do 90-degree turns in the up and bottom faces, where everywhere else has that kind of bandaged gear cube movement. So yeah, this is the Gear Cube Extreme. So here is a handmade puzzle that I made. It's a 3x3x2, and it was made from a Cube for You 3x3x4, and I was able to make this from a posting on Twisty Puzzles. But I forget who posted it, but I was able to follow their instructions and make the 3x3x2. I was really proud of it. It's got a really cool hidden move. I can turn it like this and do that. I think that looks really cool. And this is one of my first, videos that really got me excited about doing YouTube. This is another video I made on this. So I was really excited to show this off on YouTube. So here we have the Siamese Cube. This is a fun puzzle. This is a modification of the Rubik's Cube. You get two Rubik's Cubes and they're kind of conjoined. You can only have to modify this corner piece and this corner piece, and you can make a Siamese Cube. And this is one of my favorite Siamese cubes. There's other ways to make Siamese cubes that are conjoined a little closer. But I think this one looks the best. It's got better symmetry, and yeah, I think these are cool. I've had this for a long time, and I've always enjoyed the Siamese Cube. So here we have another new Rubik's Cube, but this is one of the Speed Cube versions. You can tell because they've got the little notches in the centers, and you can pop those out and adjust the tension to whatever you want. And yeah, I think for a Speed Cube, they turn pretty well, at least the ones I've gotten. They're probably not as good as the new Moyu cubes, but I mean, they turn good enough for me, and I think they look really nice. I like the tiles. I think the tiles are cool. So yeah, this is the new Rubik's Speed Cube. So next we have a 3x3x7 that has been squished down, and this is a Cube for You puzzle. And I thought it was really cool when it came out. Solved it a bunch, and yeah, I think they're pretty cool puzzles. So that's a 3x3x7. And right after that comes the 3x3x9, and this is another cool puzzle from Cube for You. And it turns really well, and I really like the 3x3x9. I think it's pretty cool. So here's a cube, or a Whit Eden 3x3 by, what is that, 6? I can't count. So here's a 3x3x6 from Whit Eden. It's not completely proportional, but it is a good kind of height. You can really grip it a lot better. If it was a true, like if it had true proportions, it would stick out a lot further. But yeah, this is a fun puzzle, 3x3x6. So here is my 3x3x5 that I made, and this is a fully functional 3x3x5. And when I made it, it was a lot of work, and it turned out really well, and it has become one of my favorite puzzles. Solving a 3x3x5 is a lot of fun, and it has shape shifting. It's just really overall probably my favorite cuboid puzzle, and might even be my favorite puzzle. I think it's a really cool puzzle. I really highly recommend 3x3x5s, and the Calvin's puzzle makes a pretty good one, mass produced, so you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours making your own, which is really cool. So yeah, here's my 3x3x5. Here's another cuboid. We got a 4x4x5, and I forget who made this, but I like cuboids, and this is just another cuboid. And it feels like it's, oh yeah, I remember this is based off of an Ishin, I believe. And yeah, there you go, 4x4x5. More cuboids. We got another cuboid. We have, this one's a Tom Z, what is it, a 3x4x5. So this is my first, first cuboid, I believe, that was a different number on each side. And I just really enjoy the solving of cuboids. It's fun to move them around. I don't know, there's something satisfying about cuboids that I like. It's really just hard to explain, but the 3x3x5 is just another fun cuboid. Here we have I think this is a Maru 4x4. And I got this because I wanted a white 4x4. At the time I was making a video on some patterns, and I was using my V-Cube collection, and they had at the time no 4x4, so I didn't have a white 4x4. So I needed a white 4x4 to make my pattern video look fine on all 2x2 through 7x7. So I went ahead and bought this one. So here are my bandageable cubes. I've got 2 Lego cubes that I made. I made a video on how to make, or I showed how to make it, but it's really just a video on bandageable cubes that you can make with Legos. And I don't know, I think they're really fun. Whenever I show people Lego cubes, they go crazy. They love them, and they're pretty cool. Here we have my original 2x2 that I got a long time ago, and this is a pocket cube, I think it was sold as, and the stickers just basically disintegrated, and I bought these new ones. I think I forget what kind. I think they came from CubeSmith. But yeah, this is just a 2x2. Doesn't turn very well. It's from Rubik's. It's pretty old. So here we have a ghost cube, and this has got the gold stickers, very reflective stickers. And ghost cubes are really difficult shape mods of the 3x3. And because there are no stickers, you don't know where each piece goes, or because there are no colors on each side, you don't know where each piece goes. And the ghost cube is really difficult because the solve state is actually like a mid-turn, so you can't actually turn it. You can see these layers are misaligned right here, these 3. So if I turn this layer here and this layer there, now all the layers are aligned and every move is possible. So the solve state is misaligned, which makes them really difficult to solve. There's no real symmetries either, so it's just hard to find what piece you're looking for and to know what piece goes where. So here's another, I got a white one with black labels, and I got another black one with gray labels, and I got another one in here, and this is a gift from Mefferts. This is the red one, red metallic one, and they only made a few of these. They didn't sell them, and he only gave them to a select few people, and I felt honored to get this one, so it was really nice of him to give it to me. And I think they look great. I especially like the red ones. Red being part of my YouTube name, redKB, and red being my favorite color. I was really excited to get it. So this is one of my favorite puzzles. Here is my transparent cube that I made these hand cut stickers for, and it turned out really great. And made a video on it a long time ago, and the video did really well. It's another video that really made me excited about making YouTube videos. Here we have a Holy Megaminx. It's like a void cube, but for the Megaminx. And when this came out, I was really excited about it because I really liked the void cube and wanted to get this one as well. So here we have the void cube. And this puzzle, when it came out, it got me really excited about cubes again. It was one of the ones that really got me excited about cube collecting, because at the time I really only had the Rubik's Cube and 2x2, 4x4, 5x5. And when I heard this was coming out, I really thought it was cool. I didn't understand how it could even be possible, and it made me really want to get one. So this is a kind of a cube that really got me back into cubing. And it was also one of the first videos I made. I made a video showing the insides of the void cube, and I made like a stop motion animation, and it was one of my first videos that got a lot of views. Yeah, so you guys should check out my stop motion animation void cube video if you can find it. Here we have a gear cube, and this is just a normal gear cube. This cube was also one of those cubes that really got me excited about collecting when it came out. And I got it, and I made that first move. It's just so cool to see the gears moving and it causing this bandaging, and I just thought it was so cool. And it was the first puzzle that I realized who Oscar Van Deventer was, and it's just a really exciting puzzle, and it made me really excited about cube collecting. So here's another kind of geared puzzle, but this one it was invented by Timur. How do I pronounce his last name? Evbetirov, something like that. Sorry, I can't pronounce names very well. But yeah, this is another geared puzzle, and this one is a little disappointing because it just always had troubles, and I don't think it was Timur's fault. I think it was more Meffert's fault for not getting that design down perfect, and they shipped it without having it ready yet. And so it required some modification, and even with modification, the edges kind of come out of alignment, and it becomes unsolvable very easily. So there's a little bit of a disappointment, but still, it looks really cool, and I don't know, I like gear cubes. So here's another 3x3. I'm embarrassed because I don't know what it is. It's a nice turning 3x3. It's a speed cube. It turns well. I don't know what it is. You guys will laugh at me. You guys will probably know what it is, but I don't. But I do have it in the cool snake pattern, which is one of my favorite patterns. So here's another one of those Meffert's 2x2s with that unicore design where the corners can pop off. And yeah, I don't think they sell this, but Meffert sent it to me to make some videos, and I never found out if they were going to sell them, and I never made the videos. So here it is. So here we have a Gigaminx, and this is made by Cube for You. And this is a puzzle that I've solved maybe once or twice, maybe twice. It doesn't turn that great, and it's just really big, lots of pieces. And so I put it up on a shelf, and we've only really looked at it ever since I solved it that once, or maybe twice. I don't remember. So yeah, there you go. It's a Gigaminx. So here is my other Dogic, and this one has a different layout of puzzle, or layout of tiles. And you can see this one has more colors, and each side is a different color, I think. Although it looks like two blues. No, those are different. This is darker. Yeah, so each side's a different color. The colors might be fading a little bit. It's hard to tell. It looks a little not as vibrant as I remember. So I hope it's not fading. The white definitely doesn't look as white. But the Dogics are cool. I prefer this pattern over the other one because this is more of a unique. Seems like there's only one solved state here. The other one, you can move those triangle groups around and change it. But this one, if you move the big triangles around, it scrambles it. But at the same time, these ones I can turn, and there's multiple solved states here. So I don't know which one. I think I prefer this one out of the two looks. And yeah, the Dogics are really cool puzzles, and they're pretty rare. And I'm happy to have both of them. I actually had one, and my brother had the other. and he gave me his. So now I've got two, and it's nice to have two in both of these kind of color configurations. So here are Pyramix Duos, and I've got two of them, which is nice. And so these are very easy puzzles, and they can be solved in like 4 moves. And yeah, so Pyramix Duos. And here we have my signed Rubik's Cube. This is an original Rubik's Cube from 1980. And this is the one that was kind of their first really major mass-produced Rubik's Cube that went around the world, and it was made by Ideal. And this one was bought in Germany, and it's got German labels. And it was actually my aunt, her parents bought this in Germany. It was sitting in their garage, and she gave it to me. It was really nice that she did. So yeah, I'm really happy to have it. When I met Erno Rubik, he signed it for me, and probably my favorite piece in my collection. So here we have a puzzle from Rubik's, and this one, I forget what it's called, but it's got like these 3 gyros, or is it 2 gyros? 1, 2. There's 3 layers basically of balls, and each one can rotate on a different axis, and you try to get the marbles out of the internal kind of ball and get it into these little knobs sticking out the sides. And the only things that really turn are, you can turn this little piece of plastic here and turn this piece of plastic here. And then you have to just manipulate the puzzle around until you can get the marbles out. And it's a pretty challenging puzzle. And I was able to solve it a couple times, and I solved it, and then it's really just sat on the shelf ever since. It really doesn't have that same appeal as twisty puzzles to me, because you know, I really like that twisty puzzle. Every time you solve it, it's a little bit different. And yeah, I feel like I like them a lot better. So anyway, that's this puzzle. I forget what it's called though. Here's a cool puzzle. We have the Mosaic puzzle from Oscar Van Deventer, I believe. And it was mass produced by Mefferts. And it kind of struggled with stability issues. And you give it to someone, they don't know how to turn it. It's a corner turning puzzle, and it's got 2 layers. So we have the outside layer here, and then this is an internal layer here. And it's a pretty cool puzzle. I think it looks really nice, and I have it in this kind of like pattern here. And yeah, I've always thought it was a cool puzzle because of how it looked, but it really has some stability issues. And when it pops, it's really painful to try to put it back together. So here is one of my space cubes, and this has got a few of my astro images on each side. I got some here. This is one full picture. I got some shooting stars there. I got Milky Way panorama here, and another one here with the Milky Way with the bristlecone pine. And I made a couple of these puzzles, and I think they're V cubes, and you can get them like customized on their website. And yeah, I think they're pretty cool. So here's another puzzle. This is a Calvin's 3x3x5 X-shaped cuboid. What a mouthful. But yeah, this is a Calvin's puzzle, and it's from his 3x3x5 kind of collection. And this one's really fun, a lot of fun to play with, and it's a fun thing to solve. I really enjoyed the 3x3x5, and I really enjoy all of these kind of modifications of the 3x3x5. I think they're pretty cool. So I have no idea what this puzzle is. It's a 2x2 modification, shape mod. And I think this also comes. Is it? Let's see if I'm gonna break it. Whew. So this is a 2x2 shape mod, and it's using that same Mefferts Unicore design. So they're using the same core, and they just produce different snapping on external parts, and they can make all different designs. And this is a nice design, and I think it looks pretty cool. It's like a shape-shifting pyramid. And yeah, so it's Mefferts. I don't know if they sell these though. I looked on their website a while back, couldn't find it. So here we have a 3x3. I have no idea what kind of 3x3 or what happened with that center. This might be the one I bought for my wife that she took to school. when she was a teacher, and the kids played with it and it got busted on our desk. Might be that one. Oh yeah, it is, because I remember this piece being broken. But I think it was some DIY cube from cubeforyou.com a long time ago. And yeah, it worked well for a cheap cube and turned pretty well, and her students enjoyed playing with it. So then I have this cube. This is my magic cube. It's a self-solving magic cube. You just slap it and now it's solved. As you can see, this side is never solved and the other side is always solved. And I showed how to do a magic trick with this cube on my channel somewhere. And since then, there's been some really awesome Rubik's Cube magic. There's this magician, Steve something. I forget his last name. But he does an amazing job making a self-solving Rubik's Cube. Much better than this trick. And he's just a real magician, not just some cuber. But he is a speed cuber as well, and that's how he's able to do his awesome self-solving Rubik's Cube. And he doesn't even have a gimmick cube. He has like a real Rubik's Cube, and he's just really awesome. So definitely check out him and his magic Rubik's Cube. But this is my magic Rubik's Cube. So here we have the Wit Eden Mix-Up Plus Cube, and I think that's what it's called. And it solves scrambles like this. You can move the centers to the edges. And yeah, I remember this being really challenging. Here is my giant Rubik's Cube Lite, and the battery is dead, and I don't know where the charger is. So really, it's just a giant Rubik's Cube that's transparent with stickers, and next to like a normal Rubik's Cube, you can see how big the giant one is. And it's actually really cool. I think it's really neat. It solves. Mine was really stiff. I actually took it apart and retensioned it, but it's still pretty light. And I noticed when I was solving it, there was so much friction, I could smell the plastic melting a little bit as I was solving it. Yeah, I think it's actually really cool. It's like a lamp, and it's also a giant Rubik's Cube, and it looks cool. I don't have any other big Rubik's Cubes. This is the biggest one I have, and yeah, I think it's pretty neat. So here we have a 3x3x4, and I believe this is a Cube for You 3x3x4. Yeah, I can see the logo there. And yeah, so using this 3x3x4, I was able to make that 3x3x2 from one of these. And yeah, they're cool puzzles. I like cuboids. So here is, I believe it's a Jing's Pyramix, and it's from Mefferts, and it's a nice little puzzle. It's actually large, but it's not too difficult. Here we have a metallic ghost cube, and I got a bunch of the metallic cubes, and I made a bunch of these multicolored metallic cubes, and they look really cool. I've given a couple away, but I still have a few. Here's my other Simpsons head. Obviously here we have Homer, and it's a 2x2, and for some reason this one turned way better than the Bart one. The Bart one is really lousy, but this one turns, and hey, it's Homer. Here's another wooden snake puzzle. I don't know what you call these, but again, it's the exact same as all the other ones. Here's another cube that some company, Sophos, has had made with their logo on it, but this is an actual Rubik's brand one. So it's a lot better than some of those other cheap ones that are super cheap plastic. But even though it's Rubik's, I feel like it's a little lower quality than most Rubik's. I don't know why that is, but either that or they're using the Rubik's trademark incorrectly. But I'm pretty sure it's a Rubik's brand, but they must have. It's not their normal Rubik's cube. It's definitely cheaper. Here we have my homemade Fisher cube. This is another homemade puzzle that I custom made, and I made this before you could actually buy a Fisher cube, and it's the first cube that I was able to not just truncate parts, cut pieces off, but I was also able to extend pieces using what is it called? This epoxy sculpt, this really hard putty thing, and I was able to extend these pieces and then shape them exactly how I wanted. And yeah, so this is one of my first really kind of modded puzzles that I made. I have no idea what this puzzle is, and I don't even know if it's for sale, but this is another 2x2 mod from Mefferts, and it's kind of like this star puzzle. And I don't even know if they sell it, but it looks pretty cool. And it turns like a 2x2, and yeah, it's kind of neat. So here we have a Mefferts egg puzzle, and this is a 2x2 mod, and it's the same thing. It's got those the unicore design, and so it shares the same core as like this guy did. And I've got a bunch of these eggs. Here's another egg. Another egg. Here we have, shoot, I forget what this is called. But some kind of, it's not the Pyraminx Duo, I forget what it's called. But it's based off of the Pyraminx Duo by Oscar van Deventer, and it's just, it's another easy puzzle. The same kind of mechanism where the centers kind of go in between, like underneath the edges, because there really are no edges to this puzzle. And it's a very easy puzzle to solve. Here's another one of those 2x2 puzzles. I got another one. Now this is an infamous puzzle. This is the latch cube, and as you can see, it's not solved because I have never solved this puzzle. The arrows on the edges tell you what side these edges are allowed to move, which direction they're allowed to move. And you can see the white ones can go clockwise, the black ones can go counterclockwise, and when they're both on the same face, that face is bandaged and won't turn. So in this face, I have two that go clockwise, and so this face can turn, but it can't go counterclockwise. Anyway, it's extremely difficult, and just my brain doesn't know how to like comprehend these kind of puzzles, so I can't solve them. I probably could find like a tutorial and try to follow that, but I just kind of have lost interest on this puzzle because it drives me crazy. So yeah, I should probably try to solve it again, but right now, still one of the few puzzles I've just never been able to solve. Here's a very cool puzzle. This is the mix-up gear cube. This is one of my favorite puzzles, and I actually have a custom 3D printed one from Oscar van Deventer, and then since then it's been mass-produced. And it's a really cool puzzle. It turns really well, and for all the gear puzzles, it's really challenging, and I like it. So this is the mix-up gear cube. Another 2x2 egg. Here we have a Speed Megaminx, and this one has got these edges so that you can grab it a little better. You got a little more traction, and it's a stickerless one, and I think it's based off of the Diane Zanchi. Just yeah, I think it's off the Zanchi, but there are no what do you call them? Torpedoes. Maybe it's off the Guhong, I forget. But anyway, I've solved it in this kind of pattern, flower pattern. I just solved it directly to the state, and it looks cool. Here's another Professor Pyraminx. So I have both the white one and the black one. We got another Rubik's Cube, and this one I got at the Beyond Rubik's Cube event, or what, I forget what they call it. But yeah, they had these at the Science Center where they had that kind of convention. Here's a shape modification of a gear cube, and this is one that was kind of knocked off, and then they later legitimized after the fact, and yeah, it works okay. Here we have the Kirby Copter Plus, and this is the black version. This is the one that when it jumbles, these little pieces can get scrambled up, and because of that, it's very challenging and a lot of fun. This is a really cool puzzle. And yeah, I really like it and highly recommend the Kirby Copter puzzles. Here we have, well, a V-Cube 3 that's been pillowed. Yep. So here is the Dino Cube from Smaz. And yeah, Dino Cubes are cool. This one, he has his kind of like, I don't know if it's standard. I don't know what you would call it. This is his kind of normal sticker. The way he stickers puzzle is these kind of outlines, and I think they look really awesome. It looks really good on the black. Kind of reminds me of Tron a little bit. Yeah, I think it looks good. Dino Cube is a fun puzzle. It's very easy to solve, and this sticker orientation where like this is makes it even easier, I think. So yeah, it's a pretty cool puzzle, but it's very easy. So here we have, this is what, a master's Pyraminx. So it's kind of like if a normal Pyraminx is a 3x3, this would be like a 4x4. Where this one was the professor of Pyraminx, which would be like kind of like a 5x5. So this one's the master. Here is a Rubik's UFO, and this is a kind of a cool little puzzle. It can spin like this, and you can twist it like that, and you try to put all the darker gray pieces on one side and all the lighter gray pieces on the other, and then you want these centers, or I don't know what you would call these colors here, matching when it's all solved. And a friend gave it to me years ago. They couldn't solve it. I was able to solve it, and I haven't played with it in a long time. Here we have a 2x2x3, which is a really cool little cuboid. I really like some of these small cuboids. This is a puzzle that I wanted for a long time, and this is the mass-produced version. Here's another 2x2 egg from Mefferts. And another 2x2 egg. I think they look really nice. While we're doing metallic puzzles, I've got this scrambled ghost cube. I'm going to have to solve that, but not right now. So I don't know if you remember that all metallic cube that I got at the World Championships in 2003. This is another one that I grabbed, and this one I stickered, and I think it looks really cool stickered, having that chrome on the outside. So it looks really neat. It doesn't turn that great, but it looks cool. Here's a twist cube, and this is one of the two I have. The other twist cube I have is actually at work. I keep that one on my desk. Here we have a 3x3, a white 3x3, and I really have no idea what cube this is. It turns pretty good, but it looks like it's just kind of a standard mechanism. So no idea what kind of cube that is. It's probably some DIY cube. Here's another one of my space cubes. Here's a V-Cube 2 that has been pillowed. This is a fun puzzle. This is the Rex cube, and it's a corner turning cube, very similar to the Dino cube, but it actually cuts out wider, and it gives you these pieces here, where the Dino cube only really has like these three pieces here. So it makes it a little more challenging. And the first kind of time I solved it, I came up with a solution that was really inefficient and difficult. The second time I solved it, I came up with a much better and more intuitive solution, and it wasn't as hard as I first thought. So here's a Mefferts gear barrel, and it turns really well. It's just not as nice as the ball. The gear ball is really cool. This is a cool puzzle too, but it's not as cool as the ball. Here's my mix-up gear cube from Oscar Van Deventer, and this one was 3D printed by him. And this is the one I had for a long time before it was mass-produced. And it's one of my favorite 3D printed puzzles. This goes up there with like the Crazy Pill. And I really think I really think that this is an awesome puzzle. And I'm really happy it was mass-produced. That way many people get to enjoy it. So I'm going to show you more of my Star Wars puzzles. Here's the R2-D2 and C-3PO. This one is Count Dooku and the Emperor. Here we have one open of Anakin and Darth Vader. This one is the same one. And we got another one of Count Dooku and the Emperor. And we've got a Stormtrooper, actually no, a Clone Trooper, and that's not Boba Fett. That would be Jango, is that his name? But yeah, so anyway, these all came from cereal boxes in Canada, and they were free. They came in the box of cereal, and they're kind of cool, and it's really nice. I have a full set. I think I am missing a couple though, but I still have a lot that are in their packages, so that's kind of fun. So here I have some more of these puzzles, and normally when Meffert sends me puzzles, they send me one of each, and so I have a white one and a black one. But this one, they sent me even more because I think they have different sticker orientations. Like this one has different color stickers on each side, but this one has like 2 green ones, 2 orange ones, 2 yellow ones, and 2 blue ones. And so it kind of changes the solving, but just slightly. But they're still pretty cool puzzles. And they turn like the Pyramix duos did, but I still forget the names of them. I still forget what they're called. Here's a space 2x2 that I made. This is from the V cubes. Here's another curvy copter. And a Rubik's 4x4. I didn't realize I had 2 of them. Here's an L cube from the 3x3x5 collection from Calvin. You can see the stickers aren't very good on this one because it was pretty tight, and I kind of roughed them up, and they kind of get roughed up right here. But if you loosen the cube, then you don't have problems. So now that it's loose, it wouldn't have the problem. I should have loosened it beforehand. So if you get one, make sure you loosen yours before you destroy the stickers. So here's an original Pyramix from the 80s. And this is Meffert's famous puzzle. It doesn't turn all that great, but it still looks good after all these years, I think. And I still got this original case. Okay, I forget what this is and who made it. It might have been Teamer, but I think it's based off of a Rubik's Cube. And you can turn a center, and it turns that side. I'm calling these corners centers. And you solve it like a Rubik's Cube, but you have to deal with the kind of bandaging that you get when you twist it. And I remember it being kind of challenging, but I did solve it, obviously, because it's solved. Yeah, I barely remember this puzzle. I'll have to go find the video of me unboxing it and talking about it. So then what is this puzzle? This looks like just a gear cube. Yeah, so this is a gear cube, and this one's another kind of gear cube that's been shape modified. And I think it was legitimized after the fact. So it was first a knockoff, and then they put an Oscar sticker on it. And I think Meffert's was selling them. But it's basically a knockoff of the gear cube mechanism, and they made this kind of shape modification. And they later legitimized it, and you can buy it now, probably from Meffert's or Calvin Puzzle or somewhere. I don't remember. But yeah, so there's this kind of dipyramid shape mod of a gear cube. So here's another one of those puzzles. I got a white one as well. So here's something cool. This isn't a puzzle at all, but it's actually a notepad. It's like kind of like Post-it notes, but I've never used it. But yeah, a Rubik's notepad, I guess. So here's another gear barrel. This one is the white version. So here we have a wooden puzzle. It's kind of a wooden burr puzzle. I got it for Christmas one year from my brother, and it's a really cool puzzle. You have to take them apart in the right order, and then it'll all come apart, and then you have to get it back into a cube again. And yeah, I think it's really cool. It looks like a Rubik's Cube, but it's this kind of like wood puzzle, and it's really neat. It has to come apart the right way, and it's really challenging to get it back. So it's a really cool puzzle. It's one of those puzzles, once you learn how to do it, you can do it every time, unless you put it on a shelf and don't touch it for a few years like I have. So I probably couldn't solve this again right real quick. Obviously I could figure it out, but then it's the kind of thing, once you learn how to do it, you can do it every time. So here we have the Void, and the Void is like the Void Cube, but it's got a larger void in the middle. It was picked up by the Rubik's Cube and licensed by them, and it turns a lot better than the Void original one did. And it's actually a really cool little puzzle. I really like it. And obviously I've made that kind of linked puzzle where I linked 2 of them together. So yeah, they're pretty cool, the Void. So here we have the Mix-Up Cube, and the Mix-Up Cube is a really cool puzzle. It turns really well, and it's I really like the additional complexity that being a Mix-Up Cube gives you. And so it really just is a Rubik's Cube with extra moves, and I really like it. It's definitely one of my favorite puzzles, and I don't think many people really know about it, and I think it's really cool. So anyway, this one was sold by Wit Eden, and I think you can still get them from them. I don't know. But the mix-up cube is a cool puzzle. You guys should check it out. Here's another wooden puzzle, and this one's a little dusty. Gotta get the dust off of it. This is another one where once it comes apart, then you have to try to get it back together again. And yeah, it's kind of like a wooden burr puzzle. So here we have the touch cube. And touch cube was really exciting when I heard about it. And then when you play with it, it just really is a little bit disappointing. And the battery seems to be dead, so I got to charge it. But it has touch sensitive sides, and you can play the Rubik's Cube, but you have to like drag your finger, and then it like slowly animates. And then if you do it right, you can twist the top layer. And I don't know, it looks really cool because it lights up and stuff, but it just really, the user experience of it is just not that great, especially compared to a Rubik's Cube where you just grab it and twist it. It's very obvious, but this thing is really difficult to use, so it's a little bit disappointing, but at least it looks cool on the desk when it's all lit up. So here's a cylinder dino cube from Smaz, and it has these really cool stickers. I think it looks really awesome, and it turns just like a dino cube, and it's been kind of like shape modded into this cylinder, and I think it looks really great. It's fun to solve. It's very easy to solve, but it's still fun. And I like it. I think it's cool. So here's my other gear mix-up cube, and this is the black version that has been mass-produced. Turns really great, and it's just a lot of fun to solve. So this is a really cool puzzle. Looks like I missed a Star Wars head. Here's a cool puzzle called the Nut Case. And this is, I think, an Oscar Van Deventer puzzle. And you have to somehow get the nut out of the case. And so it's a case that holds a nut. That's why it's called the nut case. And there's a little trick to it. Yeah, at first it's a challenging puzzle, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. Here's another promotional Rubik's Cube by EPI Use Labs, I think, or CPI. I don't know. Whoever it is, they need a more clear logo so that people know what their name is. I have no idea what that is. Maybe it's CEPI. I can't read that logo. Maybe you guys know what it is. So here's a Rubik's Cube still in the box. This is one of their new versions with the tiles that are inset into the cube. And I think they look a lot better than the old ones. At least the old Rubik's brand ones. So here's a dollar store cube for Christmas. And it's super cheap. I gotta be careful. I don't want to break it like I broke that other super cheap cube. But the plastic is really thin, very thin walls on it. And yeah, it comes out at Christmas and goes in a box the rest of the year. Here's another space cube. This is one of the pillowed ones. I do not remember what this puzzle is called. But it's a corner turning cube, very similar to the Dino cube. And it's very easy to solve. Here we have a 3x3 egg, and this is the red version. And I actually have a bunch of them, very similar to the 2x2 eggs that I have a bunch of. But for the 3x3 eggs, I actually have the rest of them still in a box, and they're not really taking up space in my collection. But I like the red one the best. I think it looks the coolest. It's one of the center pieces to my gear ball. Perfect. I'll have to find it. So here is an octagon cube, and I actually got this as a birthday present from one of my brothers who found it at a garage sale. And yeah, so it's actually kind of cool. There's like a parity with it. And sometimes all of a sudden it seems like it's really hard to solve, and other times it seems like it's really easy to solve, depending on whether or not you hit that parity. So here's the Buzzle Ball. Buzzle Ball is a cool little puzzle. I made a couple of videos on it maybe 2 years ago. And you can actually, I think, buy them at Walmart, which is really cool. Here's another one of those 2x2s that I have no idea what they're called, but from Mefferts, and they sent me 2 of them. And I don't even think they sell them. Forget what this is called. It's basically a shape modification of a 2x2x3 into this cool shape, and it looks very similar to another puzzle that Tony Fisher came up with that has this kind of look on this side, and it would also have it on this side, but this one on this side it looks more like it's a floppy cube. So if you look at the puzzle just like this, you might think, oh, this is a floppy cube, but then when you look at it from here, you think, oh, this is the one that Tony Fisher made, and I can't think of what it's called, like the master block or something like that. I forget what it is. But yeah, this is a really cool 3D printed puzzle, and I got it a while ago. It's one of the first 3D printed puzzles that I purchased. Here's my 2x2x1 that I handmade, and I turned it into a USB key. So here is a cool puzzle. I think it's orbits. Oh, is it gonna work? I tried to fix it a while ago, and I couldn't get it working. So there's something wrong with the electrical contacts for the battery. But yeah, so it's not working. So I still want to try to fix it. But this is another puzzle I got a long time ago, probably in the 80s or early 90s. I don't remember. And what is it called? Orbix? Something like that. It's hard to see the writing on there. But yeah, it's a cool little puzzle. It's got this little stand. Orbix, O-R-B-I-X. Yeah, so we had this a long time ago, growing up. And somehow, like, you would hit this button, and some of these lights would, the ones that were on would turn off, the ones that were off would turn on. And you had to somehow try to make them all come on again. So I got some more cuboids. Here is my 2x2x3. This is the one that I handmade a long time ago. And I always thought that 2x2x3s were the coolest, and I remember seeing an article that Tony Fisher made on how to like make a 2x2x3 from like a little keychain cube, and I thought it was so cool, and one day I wanted to do it, and I had trouble like following that article, and then eventually I found a tutorial on YouTube, and I ended up making my own 2x2x3, and I was so incredibly happy with how it came out. Came out really well, and it turns really good. It turns actually much better than the one that I got that's mass produced. This is the mass produced one, but this one actually turns better, and I really like it. So this is one of my favorite puzzles. Here's another cuboid. This is the 1x2x3, and this is another handmade puzzle, and I made a tutorial on how to make it. Yeah, it's a cool little puzzle. This side here, this top side, is much better made than this bottom side, and you can tell this bottom side is a little loose, but yeah, the top side is really good. And yeah, it's a cool little 1x2x3. It's a very easy puzzle, and I made a tutorial on how to make it a long time ago with just like a spare Rubik's Cube, like an old Rubik's Cube. So here's a floppy cube. This is a knockoff one. It doesn't turn that great. The center cap keeps wanting to pop off, and it's pretty lousy. So here we have the 2x2x4 cuboid, and this is another one of my favorite cuboids. I like it because it's not too difficult, and it still shapeshifts and has a lot of the cool properties of cuboids. And yeah, it's a pretty cool little cuboid, 2x2x4. I remember trying making my own. I wonder what happened to that. I can't find it. But yeah, so here's the 2x2x4. So I just got this puzzle back together, but it's a kind of like this 2x2 puzzle that can fall apart into pieces, and the goal is to get it back together again, but you want to make sure that every color is that every side has different colors on it. And you can see I've done that, so it's solved, and it kind of like can fall apart, and you have all these pieces, and you have to try to reassemble it. And I found it in pieces in the box, and I pulled it out, and I was able to get it back together. And the other thing about this puzzle, it was actually given to me as a gift from someone from Worlds 2013, and I forget who it was. And he just handed it to me and told me to play with it, and I told him thanks, and I wasn't going to make a video on it. But hey, it's in my collection. So yeah, it's kind of cool little assembly puzzle. Speaking of Worlds, here's another puzzle I got at Worlds. Basically, it's a 2x2x2. It's kind of like the Ghost Cube. This is the solved state here. And to scramble it, you have to get it to this point, and now the edges are aligned, and it's actually a 2x2 mod shaped like this. So anyway, it's a little 2x2 puzzle, and someone at Worlds just gave it to me. It's as a video as a puzzle he made, and yeah, it's really cool. I like tiny puzzles. So here is a V cube. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a V cube 7. I got a little spiral pattern on it, and yeah, it's a V cube. Speaking of V cubes, here's the V cube 6, and this is a notorious puzzle for getting out of alignment in the internals and having crazy pops and stuff like that. And you know, this one has those problems. So yeah, anyway, it's a V cube 6. Here's a V cube 5. When the V cube 5 came out, it really was a game changer. It was the best 5x5 available at the time. And yeah, and actually the 7x7, I should have said that too when it came out. It was the first cube that came out over 5 layers, and people didn't think you could make a cube bigger than 5 layers, and they came out with a 7x7 and blew everyone away. And I was really excited to get my 7x7 when it came out. So here's a really fun cuboid. It's the 4x4x6, and it's got a lot of fun shape-shifting things it can do, and it's a really cool puzzle. This one has the Tom Z logo on it, and yeah, I like the 4x4x6. It's a very cool puzzle. So here is a shape mod of the 4x4x6 with a crazy bad logo on it, and it's produced by Calvin's Puzzle. And this is a really cool puzzle. It's based off of the 4x4x6, but because it's got this shape mod, kind of like a Fisher cut on it, it is much harder to solve. And yeah, it's a really fun puzzle to solve. I really like it. So here is a puzzle that I got that really maybe I should throw away because I think it's broken. You try to get this little spark plug out, and for me it just falls out. Somehow this is supposed to be able to stay stuck in, but I think mine was defective when I got it, which is too bad. So this little bar here is supposed to be able to lock somehow. Somehow you like can knock something in to lock it, but yeah, this one just I can't seem to make it difficult to take apart, so I don't know what's going on with it. Here is my Dos Equis cube. Called that because there's 2 X's. There's an X here and an X here, and it's based off of my 1x2x2. And I kind of first tried to make a Fisher cut on it, but I quickly realized that a Fisher cut didn't look that great. And what would look cooler is to cut it even deeper and make it into like a 1x1 cubie. And so that's what I did, and it makes this nice little X on it on either side. And so I was kind of torn between calling it an X box and a Dos Equis cube. And I decided to go with Dos Equis because there really are two X's on it. So the other cool thing about it is you're always one move away from a solve state, but obviously you can switch the color orientation. So now it's red, blue, white. And now it's red, white, blue. And so you can switch the color orientation, but to me it still looks solved. So I always say it's just one move away from solved. And it looks like this is the last puzzle in the box. Did I miss anything? Nope, just got a bunch of stands. So the last puzzle in the box is a 3x3x5, one of my favorite puzzles, if not my favorite puzzle. This one is the mass-produced one from Calvin's Puzzle. And yeah, I really like the 3x3x5s. Ton of fun to solve. The perfect level of difficulty, perfect level of challenge, and it's a cuboid that shapeshifts. You can't get a cooler puzzle than this. So 3x3x5, pretty cool. It's a good one to end on. Yeah, there's my entire collection. So there you have it. That's my entire collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you watched this whole thing. If you did, I think you guys are nuts, because I know I would never watch a video like this that's this long and very boring. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. And of course, have a great day.